Echoes of liberty, the French Revolution's reach. The year 1789. France erupted in revolution. The Bastille fell, the old order crumbled. Across continents, the tremors of change were felt, even reaching the distant shores of India. News travelled slowly then, but the powerful ideas of liberty, equality and fraternity spread like wildfire. They ignited minds and sparked new aspirations for freedom and self-determination. India, under British colonial rule, found resonance with these revolutionary ideals. The French Revolution's impact on India was profound, though indirect. It wasn't about guillotines and barricades on Indian soil. It was about the power of ideas. These ideas, carried on the winds of change, found fertile ground in the Indian subcontinent. They resonated with the people yearning for justice and self-rule. The French Revolution provided a vocabulary, a framework for articulating these aspirations. The impact was not immediate. It unfolded gradually over the 19th and 20th centuries. It manifested in the realm of ideas, social reform movements, and finally, the struggle for independence. The French Revolution became a touchstone for Indian intellectuals and reformers who dared to dream of a better future. It provided a powerful example of how ordinary people could rise up against oppression and demand their rights. The French Revolution's legacy in India is multifaceted and complex. It's a story of inspiration and adaptation, of how universal ideals of liberty and equality were embraced and reshaped in the Indian context. It's a testament to the power of ideas to transcend geographical boundaries and inspire generations in their quest for a just and equitable world. Seeds of reform enlightenment in Indian soil. The French Revolution did more than just inspire dreams of freedom. It also fueled a wave of social reform in India. Thinkers and reformers began to question traditional hierarchies and oppressive practices. They were emboldened by the French Revolution's challenge to the status quo. They saw in it a model for dismantling unjust systems. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, often hailed as the father of modern India, stands as a shining example of this era. Deeply influenced by Enlightenment ideals and the principles of the French Revolution, he advocated for a more just and equitable society. He tirelessly campaigned against social evils like sati, the practice of widow burning, and championed education, especially for women. Roy believed that India could learn from the West without losing its soul. He argued for a synthesis of the best of both worlds. His Brahmo Samaj, a religious reform movement, embodied this spirit. It sought to purify Hinduism and promote rational thought while drawing inspiration from the universal values of liberty and equality. Roy's efforts were echoed by other social reformers like Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. He too was deeply influenced by Western liberal thought. Vidyasagar dedicated his life to promoting education for all, particularly for girls. He saw education as the key to social progress and empowerment. These reformers, inspired by the French Revolution's ideals, laid the groundwork for a more just and equitable India. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, a bridge between worlds. Raja Ram Mohan Roy was a towering figure of 19th century India. Born into a wealthy Brahmin family, he received a traditional education but was also exposed to Western thought and languages. This unique upbringing made him a bridge between East and West. Roy was deeply troubled by the social ills plaguing Indian society. He saw a stark contrast between the lofty ideals of Hinduism and the oppressive practices that had crept in over the centuries. The French Revolution, with its emphasis on reason and human rights, had a profound impact on Roy's thinking. He saw in it a blueprint for social change. The revolution's message of liberty, equality and fraternity resonated deeply with his own beliefs. He believed that these principles were not alien to India, but were inherent in the ancient Vedic scriptures. Roy's most significant contribution was his relentless campaign against sati. This practice, which mandated that a widow immolate herself on her husband's funeral pyre, was a gruesome symbol of women's oppression. Roy saw it as a barbaric custom that had no place in a civilized society. He argued vehemently against it, citing both Hindu scriptures and principles of natural justice. Roy's efforts bore fruit in 1829 when the British government, under pressure from reformers like him, finally outlawed sati. This was a landmark victory for the forces of social reform in India. It demonstrated the power of ideas and the importance of challenging unjust customs. Roy's legacy extends far beyond his fight against sati. He is remembered as a pioneer of modern India, a visionary who dared to dream of a more just and equitable society. Education and equality. The legacy of Vidyasagar. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, a contemporary of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, emerged as another champion of social reform in 19th century India. Vidyasagar's life was a testament to the transformative power of education. Born into a poor Brahmin family, he had to struggle for every bit of learning he received. Despite facing immense hardship, Vidyasagar excelled in his studies, particularly in Sanskrit, and went on to become a renowned scholar. Deeply influenced by Western liberal thought and the ideals of the French Revolution, Vidyasagar believed that education was the key to social progress. He saw a direct link between ignorance and social evils like caste discrimination and the subjugation of women. He argued that only through education could individuals break free from the shackles of tradition and superstition. Vidyasagar's most significant contribution was his tireless advocacy for women's education. He challenged the prevailing notion that women were intellectually inferior and should be confined to the domestic sphere. He argued that women had the same right to education as men, and that educating women would benefit not just them, but society as a whole. Vidyasagar put his beliefs into practice by setting up schools for girls, often facing stiff opposition from conservative sections of society. He even opened the doors of Sanskrit College in Calcutta to women, a revolutionary step at the time. Vidyasagar's efforts paved the way for the gradual empowerment of women in India. His legacy continues to inspire generations of educators and reformers who believe in the power of education to create a more just and equitable world.